Just when we thought super teams in the NBA were a dying breed, it's looking like some teams are trying to bring this tradition back. And they say defense wins championships, but stacking a top-heavy roster isn't the worst idea as well. Over the years, we have seen many great big threes that were a complete success, and we've also seen big threes be a colossal failure. So in this video, I'm going to be going over 8 of the greatest big threes in NBA history. Cue the intro. Number 8, we got Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett on the Boston Celtics. This big three by the Boston Celtics brought the term Big Three back into the NBA, as when this trio was formed, it had title contenders written all over it. Back before this trio was formed in 2007, Pierce had been on the Celtics for just under 10 years, putting up good numbers, but with no real chance to compete for a championship. KG was in Minnesota where he was dominant, but got traded to the Celtics after constantly putting up good stats on a bad team. And Ray Allen was in the same boat as KG, putting up good stats on a bad team, in which he also found himself being traded to Boston. And this trio took no time to show off their talents. In their first season together in 2008, they won 66 games and the NBA title on top of all of it. The very next season was going just as well as their first, but KG injuring his knee late in the regular season and missing the playoffs really hurt this team, which led to a second round exit. Their third season, they would make another NBA Finals run, but just come up short to the Lakers in a close 7-game series. This Celtics trio would never reach the NBA Finals again, as in the 2012 offseason, Ray Allen went to Miami to join another big three later on this list, and Pierce and Garnett weren't the same players as they used to be, and they both retired a few seasons later. Number 7, we got Larry Bird, Kevin Mchale, and Robert Parish on the Boston Celtics. Another Celtics big three. The Celtics were arguably the best team in the 80s, as they won 3 titles during that span in 81, 84, and 86. The Celtics front court of Larry Bird, Kevin Mchale, and Robert Parish is arguably the greatest front court in NBA history, and not only were the Celtics the best defensive team in that era, but their unselfish play and teamwork made them a nightmare to go up against on offense. The Celtics also got some help from their other players over the years, like the All-Star guard Dennis Johnson and the former MVP and 6th Man of the Year Bill Walton. This Celtics Big Three was not only one of the best and toughest teams this league has ever seen, but I would say they did a real good job of leaving their mark in NBA history. Number 6, we got LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Kyrie Irving on the Cleveland Cavaliers. In the 2014 offseason, rumors around the league were hinting LeBron was going to make a return to Cleveland, and the Cavaliers also had their hands on the number 1 pick, which ended up being Andrew Wiggins. But the Cavs were eyeing Kevin Love on the Minnesota Timberwolves for a trade. And the Cavs already had Kyrie, in which they drafted back in 2011. But this was an offseason for the ages for Cleveland, as they pulled the trigger on the Kevin Love trade, sending their number 1 pick Andrew Wiggins, and signed back LeBron James after his tenure in Miami. The Cavs had a big three of LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love, and they had title contenders written all over them. Their first year together went just as planned. After a shaky start to the regular season, the Cavs picked it up and made the NBA Finals, even though Love was hurt and Kyrie got hurt in Game 1 of the Finals. They would lose the 2015 Finals to Golden State, but the very next season, the Cavs would rematch the 73-9 Golden State Warriors in the Finals, but this time, the Cavs would come out on top, overcoming a 3-1 deficit to win their first championship in franchise history. However though, in 2017, a new Big Three that will later be on this list was formed in Golden State, and the hopes for this Big Three contending for a championship were slowly fading. They had a good chance in 2017, but lost in the finals to the Warriors, and that was the last we saw of this Big Three in Cleveland. Kyrie demanded a trade and landed in Boston after the 2017 finals, and Cleveland were just left with LeBron and Kevin Love. This trio did make 3 finals appearances in their 3 seasons together, and even won a championship. So I would say this trio was a success, even though it didn't last as long as we all thought it would. Number 5, we got LeBron James, Dwyane Wade, and Chris Bosh on the Miami Heat. Remember when I said the Celtics Big Three with Pierce, Allen, and Garnett brought back the term Big Three into the NBA? Well, the Miami Heat in 2010 brought that saying to a whole new level. Miami already had D Wade, but Chris Bosh and LeBron James were both free agents, and they both decided to join the Miami Heat in South Beach. These signings did come with a lot of backlash, especially for LeBron, as Cavs fans were burning his jersey, saying they never want him back in Cleveland, and countless insults. But this Miami Heat trio was something special to witness. Their first season was going well as planned, but ended up losing in the NBA Finals to the Dallas Mavericks. However though, Miami would repeat in 2012 and 2013, but lose in the finals again in 2014 to the San Antonio Spurs. This trio did win 2 NBA championships and made the NBA finals every year they were together. But what holds them at the number 5 spot is that they only won twice, which isn't bad by any means, but us fans did have hefty expectations for this team, especially LeBron James.
About that.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
Number 4, we got Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker on the San Antonio Spurs. One of the most iconic big threes in NBA history. This trio of Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili played together for a total of 14 seasons, and not once did they finish below the 50-win mark. This trio may have not been the most exciting to watch and may have not had the most eye-opening stats as well, but this trio won a total of 4 championships together from 2003 to 14 with their unselfish play and elite defense. All 3 of these players are either in the Hall of Fame or going to be in the Hall of Fame, with Duncan arguably being the greatest power forward to play the game, Manu arguably being the greatest 6-man and late draft picks in NBA history, and Tony Parker, one of the quickest guards in NBA history, who also took home the Finals MVP in their 2007 championship run. This Spurs team dominated the NBA for over 20 seasons, and this trio alone was responsible for one of the greatest dynasties in all of sports. Number 3, we got Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and Klay Thompson on the Golden State Warriors. Just like the Miami Heat's Big 3, when this Big 3 was formed in Golden State with the addition of Kevin Durant, the Warriors became the new villains of the NBA, plus they basically had a Big 4 with the defensive mastermind, Draymond Green. The Warriors had just gone 73-9 the previous season, and beat Kevin Durant, who was on the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals. Although the Warriors had just lost in the NBA Finals with an all-time 73-9 record and beat KD and the Thunder in a close 7-game series, this didn't stop KD from joining them and making the Warriors arguably the greatest team of all time. The 3 seasons Klay, Durant, and Curry were together, none of them ever averaged under 20 points per game, and they made the finals every year they were together. In 2017, they finished the playoffs going 16-1, tying the 2001 Lakers with the fewest losses in a championship run at just 1. They won another championship in 2018, but in 2019, many people believed the Warriors would have three-peated if Durant never got hurt, which is hard to disagree with, but they came up just short, losing to the Raptors in the 2019 NBA Finals. This trio only spent 3 seasons together, and won 2 out of the 3 finals they appeared in. But this trio is undoubtedly the greatest offensive trio of all time and definitely would have won more championships and had a higher ranking on this list if they stayed together longer. But injuries played a massive part in this trio falling apart, as Klay missed the following 2 seasons and KD took his talents to Brooklyn. Number 2, we got Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and James Worthy on the Los Angeles Lakers. The Showtime Lakers in the 80s are one of the most well-known teams in all of sports. And when you got a trio of the greatest passer of all time, the greatest big man of all time, and one of the most clutch and underrated forwards to play the game, you get a trio that won 3 titles together and 5 in total in the 80s. Magic and Kareem won 2 titles in 1980 and 1982, but after acquiring the number 1 pick, James Worthy the following season was just overkill at that point. Even though Kareem was getting old and he wasn't the same player as he used to be, the Lakers still ran the league with Magic and Worthy, as they made all but 2 NBA Finals in the 80s, winning 5 in total. This trio is one of the longest lasting trios on this list besides the Spurs and the Celtics, who were their main rival back in the 80s. But with the Lakers beating the Celtics 2 out of the 3 times they met in the NBA Finals in the 80s, they had to get the edge over them on this list. And with 3 Hall of Famers and 3 top 75 players of all time, it's no secret why the Showtime Lakers racked up the number 2 spot on this list. But at number 1, we got Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman on the Chicago Bulls. Jordan and Pippen were known as the best duo in the league in the early 90s, as they won 3 straight championships together from 1991 to 1993. However, Jordan retired after the 93 finals, and Scottie was the new face of the team. Jordan did return at the end of the 1995 season, but Jordan and the Bulls were not at their best, as the Bulls lost their only playoff series in the 90s to Shaq and the Orlando Magic. The Bulls were getting killed in the interior and on the glass, so in the offseason, the Bulls acquired Dennis Rodman, who led the league in rebounding 4 years in a row prior to his signing. But this signing was perfect for Chicago, as Jordan and Pippen were still the perfect 1-2 punch combo, and now they had the best rebounder in the league and one of the best defenders in the league. The very next season, the Bulls would win a record at the time 72 wins and easily win the 1996 NBA championship. 2 years later, and the Bulls would add 2 more championships, making it another three-peat and 2 three-peats in 8 seasons. And in those 3 seasons from 96 to 98, Jordan won 2 MVPs, won 3 straight scoring titles, and Rodman led the league in rebounding in each of those 3 seasons. This big three dominated the league for 3 straight seasons, as they had the best scorer in the league with Jordan, the best rebounder in Rodman, and the perfect complementary piece in Pippen, who had its scoring, defense, and playmaking. It's no surprise that this Bulls big three takes home the #1 spot on this list, as they were pretty much unbeatable and solidified themselves as one of, if not, the greatest team and trio in NBA history. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content just like this one, drop a like and subscribe, and leave a comment on any other big threes you think deserved a mention in this video. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one.